Being back in the building, getting to know our amazing staff. Zoom's great. However, we really wanted to continue doing as much as we can in person. This meeting is being live streamed and recorded, so if you miss anything, feel free to go back. We'll send out the link this Sunday. You're welcome to review the footage, and we'll open up Q&A at the end. After looking at a few different companies, trying to get the best price, we realized that after talking with most schools in our area, most schools are paying over $1,000 for their child's trip. We did some research into those companies, but realized that some of those schools did not have a great experience, so we are continuing on with our Educational Discovery Tours company. With that said, we realized that the cost is still pretty high, which is why we are offering a fundraising opportunity for our students as well as scholarship opportunities. So we have quite a few sets of twins this year. So just to help offset the cost, we did get approval for an optional cash calendar fundraiser. We've done this, or I did this at a previous district. If those of you are familiar with a cash calendar, we're going to reach out to local businesses or people that might be able to donate things. One of them we've already confirmed is anytime tickets for Pat's Peak. So we're going to be reaching out to businesses and other people to see if they can donate for our cash calendar. Students have the opportunity to sell, Students have the opportunity to sell tickets, $10 per ticket or $25 per ticket. And however many tickets they sell or however much money they make goes directly to their trip. So if I sell 50 tickets at 10 bucks, how much is that? 500, that's why I love working here. We've got great mathletes here. 500 bucks directly to the trip. We are still ironing out. We're still finalizing with a lot of people. So if you have a company and you're interested in donating, I did have a parent offer up their Airbnb for a night as a cash calendar prize. So if you know of anybody or if you personally want to donate anything, we are welcoming. We'll be calling a lot of you probably in the next week or two to finalize our cash calendar. But our plan right now is to allow students to sell tickets in the month of October and November, and then announce winners in December as a little bit of a giving gift for the month of December. Once we have this finalized, we'll send all the information out, and hopefully that'll just give you guys an opportunity, your child, an opportunity to make some money, fundraise, to offset the cost. Because $1,000 and $1,066 in my house is still a lot of money. We are still accepting donations. We have a donations page on our HBMS DC webpage. So if you could check that out, if you're interested in donating, it's through the My School Bucks link on the DC website. All you have to do is click it, donate money, and just put in the tab there, DC donation. We are also accepting checks. We offer quarter, half, and full scholarships to students. And I know it's a sensitive subject, but please don't hesitate to reach out if you need any financial support. We want to make sure all students that want to attend have an opportunity to attend. And so far, in my time here, 1 year, all students that wanted to go attended last year. I think we had 182 go last year out of our 195 students, so it's a pretty high percentage. We really want to offer that opportunity to all our students again. I think that's, if your child does not want to go or decides not to go, we do have day trips planned for the students that don't attend, but as we get closer to April, we'll send out information about the day trips for students that don't attend. I think that's all I have, but before I turn things over to Mr. Richard, I do want to thank him for all of his work and help in making last year's trip such an incredible success, as it really does take a ton of planning and preparation. From his incredible dance moves on the DJ Dinner Dance Cruise to his ability to connect with all of our students during this trip, he really did make this DC trip extra engaging and extra fun for our students. So happy to introduce our trip leader, Jake Richard. Just kidding, that's Jake. This is our nurse, Danielle Barabee. She's going to go over medical information first. She was very helpful as well. We couldn't do the trip without her as well. So Danielle Barabee.
So if it doesn't apply to you, just so that I don't have to track down to make sure that it truly is NA. That's really helpful for organization with all the paperwork. If you have medications that you don't have yet, you can write notes, and you can always connect with me at danielle.barabee@su41.org. Any questions you have, just reach out, and we can get things going that way. If your student has an EpiPen or inhaler, most that I've received so far are updated. If your student, if you know it's outdated, or if you haven't actually provided a paper regarding an emergency med like that, connect with me. I do need something on file that's current. Your student is welcome and actually encouraged to be able to carry their inhaler and epi so that it's on them at all times. When the groups are out walking around in the museums, they're not necessarily standing next to a person that might be carrying it for them. So on those sheets, it says on there too, any notes, that's where you're gonna want to have a doctor or prescriber write may self-carry. That's a super important piece if you have any emergency meds. Also, I unfortunately will not be able to attend this trip, which means that all the power school information isn't necessarily going to follow with your student. So when you're prompted by the travel company to fill out allergies, food limitations like vegetarian or gluten-free, please give as much information as you can. It does remain confidential, but that will help to make sure that we are able to provide for your student what they need when they're there. If on the morning of departure, your student is febrile, having vomiting or diarrhea, we do ask that they do not join the trip that day. I think in the past we've been able to have them come halfway through so they don't miss the whole trip. If your student is ill on the trip and has to go home, it is the responsibility of the parent to come pick them up. I'm very sorry. But if you do know your student has motion sickness, it's helpful to let me know that beforehand so that we can rule that out in the morning. If something is supposed to, something happens, or Dramamine, you're welcome to send OTCs for your student as long as it's in a closed container and you put it on that medication sheet, that even OTCs, if your student can't swallow pills but can chew ibuprofen, it is helpful for you to send that form with them so that they are able to take their medication, because I don't necessarily have all forms of regular OTCs. And I think that's pretty much it for my piece. If you have any questions, again, feel free to reach out. We will be on a lot of emails together, me and Mr. Richard. So just let me know if you have any questions. Okay?
All right, now for the fun part, the trip. So if you look at the packet with the picture on the front, it has the itinerary on there. Now, that itinerary that you're looking at, everything that's on there we will do. We may not do it on the day that it says we're doing it. As the trip gets closer, we'll know more exactly what gets done on what day. So we will have another meeting just before the trip. There'll be another parent meeting on, I believe it's right around April 1st. And on that day, we will have the actual itinerary. So what happens is a lot of the things that we do requires an appointment, and you can't get those appointments until usually about 6 months beforehand. So we don't have the exact appointment date yet. So once we get the appointment date, that's when we got to kind of shuffle things around. So everything on there we will do, it just may not be on the exact day that you see right there, okay? So let me give you a brief overview of what the trip kind of looks like, a quick snapshot. So the kids may want to block their ears for this one. The bus leaves at 6 a.m. on the first day of the trip, okay? Leaves meaning, so I'm on bus 1, and I'm literally sitting there like this, and when it goes from 5:59 to 6, I tell the bus driver to go. So if you're coming to the bus, right as the wheels start going, you're gonna have to quickly get in your vehicle and follow us to probably the border of Connecticut and New York. and then you can get on at that point, okay? Because we can't wait, because our schedule is literally so tight that if we wait even a minute or two for somebody, then it's going to throw things off. So we got to make sure that on that morning, every kid is on the bus, seated, ready to go at 5:55. Okay? So usually what happens is people start rolling in around 5:30. We got to put all the bags on the bus. We got to make sure we have everybody. We have to load snacks on the bus. We got to load water on the bus and all that stuff. So make sure you are not late. So just so you know, the student chaperone ratio, every chaperone is usually in charge of 3 groups, which means approximately 12 or less students. Okay, so the ratio is very low. They are not with their chaperone every second of the trip, but the chaperone is always basically in the area of them the whole time. We travel as a bus. We usually take attendance when we're in a certain spot by chaperone. So we'll just yell, get with your chaperone. Kids get with their chaperone. Make sure we have everybody. Then we move on. Then, they can mingle with the rest of the bus at that point. The buses don't necessarily all travel together. There are times where there's 4 buses that are going to go. There are times where buses 1 and 2 could be at the Holocaust Museum. Buses 3 or 4 could be at a Smithsonian museum. So and then they would switch off. So we don't necessarily go the entire time as 4 buses, 200 people all at once, just because of our size. So the daily schedule, we will wake up at the hotels, usually in the 6s. We usually have breakfast around 7:15. The breakfast is in the hotel. It's a breakfast buffet. Once we're done the breakfast, we load on the buses, bring us into the city. Buses will drop us off, and then we walk. So good shoes, very important. Like these open-toed shoes there, you'd be crying middle of the first day, you wouldn't make it through the second or third day. So make sure no flip-flops, because whatever they wear, they own it, and we don't have any time at all during the day to say, well, hold on, Susie's feet are hurting. We got to go back to the hotel, get her better shoes, okay? Susie's got to suck it up and start walking with us, okay? So make sure that you have the right shoes. Rooming, so roommates, 4 to a room. Cannot be more than 4 because of fire code. So only 4 to a room. Can't be less than 4. However, there may be a situation where there could be 3 in a room, because if there's an odd number of kids, obviously we're going to have to do that. But plan on 4 in a room. So the students should start thinking about, who do I want to room with? And I know there's a lot of girls that have already said to me, well, there's 5 of us. Well, you got to drop one. Sorry. Okay? Yeah. So, but in that case, I would look, right? If your daughter is in a group of 5, it's usually the girls, that's why I say daughter. The girls are usually more dramatic, okay? If you have a group that's more than 4 or less than 4, start shopping around for roommates, because you don't want the drama to happen in February. So right around February is where they will select their roommates. They pick them. You will know who they're picking for a roommate. A roommate form will go home. Make sure that the roommate form is filled out with all 4 names on there before you sign it, okay? Because if the roommate form comes back with 4 names and 4 signatures, we think, all right, parents know who their kid's rooming with, that's fine, okay? So we want to make sure that you're comfortable with, who your student is going to be rooming with. So that happens in February, where we'll have the meeting with the kids, give them the form, get the form back, and we're all good, hopefully. So places we eat. So just so you know, every place that we eat, I have put menus or links to the websites on the Washington, D.C. website that we have on our school page. So you can go look there. kids probably in April about the food trucks, because last year they showed me that they are the worst consumers in the world. So they would get a meal for $18 at this food truck. I got the same exact meal for $12 at that food truck. And they would say they got ripped off. They did get ripped off, but they should have been able to realize it. So I'll educate them on that before we go. That way they can eat more and complain less. So when the trip's all said and done, on the very last day, they will be extremely tired. We get back here probably 9 or 10 at night. We'll know a little bit more as it gets closer. We will send an alert now message to you 2 hours before we get home. That way you're not sitting out there forever. So it is a late night. It's a Friday, which isn't too bad. So celebrate that night as your last night of freedom without your kids. Go out to dinner, and then you can come pick them up. All right, so now the important stuff, registration. So in your packet, okay, on pages 2, well, they don't have page numbers, the second and third page of your packet gives the information on how to register, okay? Registration needs to be done by October 1st, and a deposit of $150 has to be submitted as well. They take credit cards, they take checks. There are no fees for credit cards. So if you want to put it on your credit card, you can do that. So at minimum, the deposit of $150 needs to be done by the 1st of October. If you want to pay the entire thing in full right away, go for it, okay? What'll happen is, on a monthly basis, Educational Discovery Tours, who is our tour company, they will send you an email reminding you, here's when the next payment's due. So every month after that, there is another payment that is due. If you look on the third page, probably about 3/4 of the way down, the payment schedule is listed. Okay, so that'll tell you the due dates of the payments. I will tell you this, between you and me, it says next payment due on 11/9/2023. If you pay it on 11/10, they're not going to charge you a fee, so you'll be okay. All right. So that payment schedule is out there. If you want to pay any other amount more than that ahead of time, you are more than welcome to do so. So the instructions are there online. If you have any trouble with the registration site, you can email me. My email address is on that third page, right at the top. Okay, you'll see it says Hollis Brookline Middle School. Right under middle school, it says U.S. History Trip. Right under there is my email. So email me if you have any trouble whatsoever. So make sure that when you sign up, okay, Nurse Barrowby said it, and it's extremely important. Right when you sign up, you have to put, are there any dietary restrictions or food allergies? Because the places where we go, we make sure that if there's a meal that's being prepared for everybody, they make sure that there is a meal for your student, should there be, I got attacked, should there be any type of food allergy or dietary restriction. So if we go to a place and there's all hamburgers and hot dogs, and your student's a vegetarian, we make sure there's a vegetarian meal for them, okay? So that's very important to put that in. If something changes later on down the line, let's say that your student in March decides I'm now a vegetarian, you would have to contact the tour company just to let them know, because you can't go back in the system and change it, okay? So that stuff is extremely important. When you register, okay, you have an option to buy insurance. The insurance is called Cancel for Any Reason, and it literally means cancel for any reason. You could show up the day the buses are leaving, and you could say, my kid doesn't want to go today. If you have the insurance, you're good to go, you get your money. If you don't have your insurance, actually I believe if it's on the day, I think you're out. Because we have to reserve so many things for us down there. The insurance information is on the back of the packet. It's by the cancellation policy is get it, you have to select that option within 14 days of registering. So just keep that in mind, okay? So after that, the insurance is kind of off the table. So if you choose to do that, then that's fine. All the information on page 4 talks about the cancellation policy, so that'll tell you how much money you would get back if you canceled so far in advance. So just take a look at that. I won't read that to you. So our school website, just so you know, and for those of you at home who are not here and you're watching this video, every piece of information that you have in front of you here is on the school website, okay? All the information about the trip. If you happen to lose these forms that are in front of you, they're all on the website. All the DC menus where we eat, they're all on the website, okay? Links to places we'll go, all on the website. I will update that website with the itinerary once we hammer out what the exact itinerary is, so I'll post that out there as well, okay? So, as of now, we have this trip fully staffed for chaperones, where last year we had very few from the school. So this year we have 16 chaperones that are staff members that are going on the trip. However, we will need 2 medical personnel to go. So if you are interested and you are a nurse or a doctor or an EMT, anything like that, and you're willing to go on the trip, we will pay for you to go on the trip. So we will pay your expenses, you get your hotel, you get to eat like everybody else. Email myself or email Mr. West. And again, we're looking for 2 of them. If we get more, if someone else drops out, we may slide you in, we'll see. But as of now, we just need 2 medical personnel that would be willing to go on the trip. What they would do on the trip is they'd be in charge of 2 buses worth of kids. They don't have a chaperone group, so they're technically not a chaperone. They're not in charge of kids. They're in charge of, if a kid needs medication, they're in charge of making sure the kids get their medication, whether it be during the day, at night, in the morning, and also, if there's an injury, which I've never had. I've had them, but the kids haven't had them. They would be obviously the medical personnel that would take care of that. Any questions? There's got to be questions. Question? Oh, behind me. All right. So the question is, how much spending money should the kids bring with them? So there's also, you'll see on our website, there's a Q&A section out there. This is one of the questions out there, but it's a good question. Honestly, I would say $50. Okay? The kids will want more. So what they may want to buy is they may want to buy a sweatshirt out there. Okay? So the sweatshirts are normally like $35, but you can wheel and deal down to like $25. And they're going to need, so the only meals that aren't provided is lunch on the way down, which most people bring their own lunch and eat it on the way down. But when we stop at a rest stop, if your student wants to buy something at a food court at the rest stop, they can have money for that. And then dinner on the way home, but usually the dinner on the way home, they're usually too fried to eat anyways on the way home. Or they'll have some money left over from when we give them money during the week. So part of the way that lunches work is in the first dinner we're there, we give them, out of the money that you pay for the trip, we give them $20 cash. We don't give it all to them at once, because you know as well as I do that the first night it would be gone. So what we do is for every meal, we literally hand them a $20 bill. And if dinner is $15, they pocket the other $5. You already paid the money, it's your money, okay? So I would say $50 is probably good, unless they want to buy you souvenirs too, you can give them more. Any other questions? Yes? So the question is, just so the people online can hear too, the question is, are we selling calendars as well? We are. So I would say when you register, if you plan on selling, how much for the calendars? $10? $10 a ticket. If you think you're going to sell 106 calendars, right? Then sell them quickly, and then we can make sure that we get your deposit in. If you think you're going to sell less than 900 calendars or 90 calendars, then at least go and make your deposit, because then when you sell the calendars, then we'll apply that to it. Yes. Yep. Good question. Any more questions? We're all tired and we want to go to sleep? No? Oh, is that a question or a wave? Oh, just waving? No more questions? No? If you do come up with a question, check the Q&A that we have on the DC website. If the answer's not out there, email me. Okay, my email again is on that page 3. Email me, I'll answer your question for you. Okay? We good? All right. Go home, go to sleep.